back to another episode of Literature Podcast. I'm Mich.
And I'm Joanna.
And today we're going to be discussing Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix book versus movie. So, it's been a while. We haven't done one of these for a hot minute because, well, first of all, I hate this episode. I have been procrastinating. And I finally just watched the movie with my family during a Harry Potter marathon this weekend. And I'm like, you know what? This seems like a good time to sit in the middle of a packed theater room and write down my thoughts. So that is what I did, so that I didn't have to rewatch it. So, we start the movie with Dudley picking on Harry in the park. And he's all being like a big mean ass, all like, your mummy dead, Potter, and all that shit. And I mean, like, I already hate Dudley quite a bit, you know? But that just makes me hate him more. I don't think he does this in the book, does he? Because I think if he did, I would hate him more.
I can't actually remember because we've procrastinated this episode.
It's been a long-ass time.
So long. But yeah, that part of the movie, oh my gosh, I hate him too. Especially, like, knowing that kind of feeling of not having one parent or the other. It's like, I'm not fucking opposed to throat punching you.
Yeah, like, we could just reach through the screen.
Right? If that were me, Big D, you'd be on the goddamn ground right now.
Big D. I do remember that from the last episode.
Big D.
I also, in the movie, I actually liked that Harry walks in with Dudley, like, through the front door and goes into the living room. Like, that made so much more sense than in the book where he rings the doorbell. We've arrived at our house. Dudley's feeling ill. Let's ring the doorbell instead of just walking in.
Okay, so I actually rewatched it this morning.
Did you?
Yeah, like, I had notes that I could remember off the top of my head, but I particularly could notice today that I felt like Dudley looked cross-eyed throughout most of the beginning of the movie. Not just the Dementor scene. That one was particularly rough. But even before then, even when he's being a jerk, it's like, you look like a cross-eyed asshole.
Yeah.
And the first thing I noticed about Harry was that Harry's hair is much less hairy.
Sounds like a horrible, like... Oh, okay.
He just tamed that over the summer because, okay, the Goblet of Fire movie, it was like...
Everywhere.
Yeah, it was like he woke up out of bed 15 days in a row and he's like, this is my hair.
Maybe he finally got a brush.
He finally got a brush.
Yeah.
Someone bought it for him because it was not the Dursleys. Hagrid.
He wakes up on Christmas morning and there's a brush.
From Mrs. Weasley. Like, please brush your hair.
Calm that shit. I don't get why the letter talks in this movie. Like, I get howlers, because Ron has gotten a howler, and I think in the books later on Neville gets one too or something. But the letter from the Ministry shows up saying that he's been expelled, and it's talking. Like, I'm sure he could read. I'm sure he can read it by now. He's in, like, what, grade 7, 6, 5? 5
yeah.
Now? So he's in his 5th year. I'm sure he can read.
Yeah, I didn't get that section either, because unless they just decided it's going to be
easier.
Howler-esque.
But I feel like they wasted money to, like, animate a talking letter when he could have just read it, and then they could have, like, added Dobby later on for a scene or two.
True. And then they did leave out Petunia's letter. Well, her actual howler.
Mm-hmm. Remember my last.
Yeah, just it doesn't happen.
Yeah.
No one cares about what you have to say.
But
Dumbledore.
they don't say that they're kicking him out either.
No, they don't.
I also don't understand still. Yeah,
there's a lot missing in this one. I mean, the book is massive. I get it, but there's a lot missing to the point.
There's a lot missing.
There's no point in discussing it all because we'd have like 200 points of what is different.
No kidding.
Like absolutely nuts.
I still don't understand how the Ministry would know that he was the one to do the spell. Like, he wasn't even at home at the time. In the movie, he's in a freaking tunnel. Like, Mundungus was supposed to be outside his house anyways. Like, there's obviously other wizards in the area. Who's to say it was Harry casting the spell? I don't understand.
I don't either. Ministry, man.
I don't get it. But yet they can't, like, pinpoint, because I think Hagrid says at one point, like, oh, they can't, that's not how it works. They can't say who's done it. Well, shit. And in the book, they get the Dursleys out of the house while using the, like, Lawn of the Month award or something. I can't remember. Mm-hmm. But yeah. I think in this one they just end up leaving for the hospital. At least I assume they're leaving for the hospital.
That's what
He's not feeling well.
That part's hilarious. I love how they feel like they have to cover Dudley's face because somehow him not looking feeling okay looks worse than just straight up putting a towel over his head while you just shove him into the car. And then waving. He's not feeling well. Like,
I love that part.
Psycho.
Okay, so this part really bugs me. In book and movie, why do they fly to Grimmauld Place? Like, why wouldn't they have side-along operated? It would have been so much easier. It would have been faster. And it would have been less risky, because I feel like in the movie they took way too many risks that were even to be believable. Matt, I would have never flown them over the city and, like, over the river and, like, alongside the traffic and, like, no, he would have, he wouldn't have done that at all. He would have been, like, far. I think they, like, specifically avoid cities and take a longer time in the book.
Yeah, and in the book, they're just, like, being really ballsy.
Yeah.
Pushing around this, like, boat and whatever.
Slaloming through the light posts and, like...
Like,
what?
Yeah, it made for a really cool scene, but it's just not very believable.
No. And then they didn't give Harry the paper with the address from Dumbledore, which, like, how the hell was he even supposed to see Grimmauld Place? Because Dumbledore's a secret keeper. Mad-Eye just kind of, like, pops his stick on the ground and it appears. But I feel like it wouldn't have, because I don't think it would have been able to reveal itself to Harry without Dumbledore saying it. I think that's how it works, in my understanding.
I'm not totally sure. I don't
how the whole secret keeper thing works.
Yeah, just like I don't understand how none of the Muggles can feel the building.
Their building move.
Right, like you have this whole scene and like the fish probably know because they're like, fuck. But the people are like, this is cool, this is normal.
Maybe it just feels like a tiny earthquake.
Tiny earthquake that they just keep watching TV too.
Well, people in California do. I've been in California during a small earthquake, and, like, my cousins would just be like, oh, yeah, it's just an earthquake. I'm like, it's just an earthquake! You know, to me, it's like, no way. And they're just like, yeah, it'll last, like, 10 seconds. In the movie, I was really upset that the screaming mom wasn't there, like Sirius's mom in the hallway.
Right?
I feel like she adds so much to the movie. I was really annoyed, like, come on, guys. It's not that hard to add a screaming picture of a lady right there.
It would have been interesting to see because she has a pretty gruesome description in the books.
Yeah.
I loved Harry and Sirius's like reunion, like when they make eye contact for the first time in this movie. I'm like, I'm gonna cry.
Every time.
Every damn time.
Harry didn't seem as pissy in this one, at least. Like in the book, when they hadn't written to him all summer, he was all like, "Oh my god," and he's like losing his shit. But in this one, he's just like, oh, okay, like, I get it.
Right,
oh, like... I'm sad that you didn't write, but whatever. But in the book, he's like, I'm not talking to you.
Yeah, he was, like, a total shithead in the book to a very, like, annoying amount. And this one, he almost looked dazed. He was like, what the fuck's going on?
Yeah.
Why didn't you write to me? And then angry about it, but I'm glad he wasn't as intense.
Mm-hmm. I did love the scene when the twins apparated into the room. It's just like, boom.
Right.
I love the twins. They're awesome. Also, speaking of the twins and their awesomeness, the extendable ear, genius invention. I want one for Christmas if anybody who's buying me a Christmas present is listening. But in the book, I'm pretty sure there's a spell on the door, isn't there? Like an impenetrable charm? Because, like, Ginny's sitting there throwing dung bombs at it.
I thought so.
Molly didn't seem to care much about how they were telling the kids anyways, so...
Yeah.
She didn't really kick them out until the end of the conversation. Until she was like, it's time for bed. But, I mean...
Like, you've heard basically everything, but not this last thing. Go to bed.
Yeah. And then another part that I really loved is a little bit later, when Mr. Weasley's taking the escalator. He looks like one of my kids on the escalator. Kylie has not managed to figure them out all the way yet. She still kind of stands there and lets her feet, like, slide back onto the top.
Right. He looks so awkward and just very concerned for his own safety. Okay, but here's what's funny. Think about it. They get on brooms and they fly around and they have nothing underneath them. You put him on an escalator.
Escalator?
Oh my god.
And even the turnstile, he was like, Like, you walk through a freaking wall, and I get that, but you can't walk through the turnstile. I was sad that they didn't do the dialing in part, like, to the ministry, though, because I really love that part when he's, like, with Harry Potter, and then, like, the little tags pop out, and they put the little tags on. Also, Percy's a douche monkey. I do not like Percy. I've realized that in this book. his hair was stupid. And, like, he is stupid.
Like,
just everything about him is stupid.
Yeah, Percy is one of... I think that I like Voldemort more than I like Percy, to be totally honest.
He was just, like, sitting beside the minister. I'm just like, fuck off.
You
Leave.
smug little shit.
Bye.
Like, no one cares.
Yeah. And then the damn actress who plays Umbridge, her little, like, it's so infuriating. Like, she does such a good job at playing Umbridge. Like, I hate her so much, but, like, I commend the actress that plays her because she really gets, like, the spirit of the character.
Yeah.
It's impressive. It's very impressive how hateable she makes the character. Although you hate her in the books anyways, but she just, like, amps it up a couple levels.
Yeah. Oh, that hem so much. I hate...
Oh.
It's even annoying when you do it, so it's not.
Yeah.
But, oh my god. When Dumbledore is making his beginning of the year speech, and she, hem, and he's just, are you serious? He just slowly turns his head to the left like, the fuck is happening? This doesn't happen.
Need a cough drop, Dolores.
Yeah. And then she's making her little speech, and he's just in the back, and it just looks like,
He's just, like, kind of dazed, like, ignoring her, but also kind of watching her. It's really weird, his expression in the background.
Like, is this really happening right now?
Would you fuck off, Dolores? I really do hate when they cut out amazing scenes, because they cut out all the house stuff before the school, which I feel like is really important stuff. It's when all of the bonding between Harry and Sirius happen. It's when Molly sees her Boggart when they're cleaning the house. It's like when you really find out what the Order of the Phoenix even is. Yeah. And I feel like that shit shouldn't have been cut out. I realize you can't put everything in a book, but you can cut out, like, different transition scenes. I felt like there was a lot of unnecessary scenes.
Yeah. I think the movies are good at just being like, we don't need the summer at all. Nobody
But people are
needs to
so
see your
confused. Because, like, I watched it this weekend with a bunch of people who haven't seen the books before. And I got asked so many questions because people don't understand what's happening. They're like, well, why does she not, like, why is she against Harry? And I'm just like, you'll see. And then it's like, why does this happen? And I'm like, well, it's not really explained, but in the book this happens. And then they're like, oh, you know. So I feel like for people who are actually just watching the movies and not reading the books, it explains nothing.
Yeah, it's very true. They tried. They just didn't get it.
They didn't get it.
I did like when Harry's getting to the Hogwarts Express and Sirius comes with them and Moody's just, are you barking mad? And I'm like...
Because he's a dog. Do you get it? I get it.
So stupid. I love it. But they did change that Sirius gave him the photo of the old Order of the Phoenix right before he gets on the train, because in the book, Harry didn't appreciate it because Moody gave it to him when he was already being a little shithead, and then he just made it all about him, and this was just very sentimental, and they were bonding, and it made me cry. And Harry appreciated it. Harry appreciated it, which is really nice to see.
Him finally appreciating something.
Yeah.
Isn't this supposed to be prefect year?
It is.
Like Harry, yeah? Okay. Harry was supposed to sit with Luna, Ginny, and Neville on the train, but obviously he doesn't.
No. They just kind of sit with, like, normal... Did they even bring up the whole prefect thing in this movie?
No! No, not at all. And then, so he just sits with Harry Harry sits with Harry. Harry sits with Ron and Hermione, like, whatever, like normal. And then they end up getting off the train, and everyone who knows me knows this already, but I love Thestrals and everything about them. But I don't get why in the movie Neville seems that he can't see them. Because when they get off the train, I think he's sitting with Neville too, because they're all walking out in a bunch. And he's like, what are those? And Ron and Hermione are looking at Harry like he's crazy, and so is Neville. But in the book, Neville can see them too. And then they all get into, like, the thing, and he sees Luna for the first time, and she's like, oh, I can see them too. But I feel like Neville should be able to see them, which is what we all know. And also, I'm 99% sure that Thestrals would probably be in the freaking Hogwarts of History. Like, how the kids get to school would probably be in that damn book. So then Hermione should be like, duh.
They're Thestral.
Yeah.
But again, in Hogwarts history, they don't explain the Sorting Hat
They
apparently
don't
either.
explain it a lot.
Like,
it's like Hogwarts history.
But only the ceiling. Only the ceiling and the great room.
And the ghosts.
And the ghosts. But you don't get to know how the fuck you get to school. You don't know how you get sorted. That's a surprise.
Mm-hmm.
But, Hermione on that friggin' ride, and she's like, "This is Loony."
Loony Lovegood. Yeah, that's Ginny's line in the book.
Yeah, Loony Luna Lovegood.
I continue to hate that there's no house elves. This is driving me insane.
Yeah, it's because there's no spew, you know?
Well, that's the whole thing. Like, it drives me crazy.
There's no spew to help get them into the movie.
There's no spew. Well, I guess so. They wouldn't be able to be paid properly because they wouldn't want money and...
Yeah, the movie set's like, how do we pay these house elves? I don't know.
They won't accept clothes for them to wear on set.
Except for this one, he keeps wearing everything. We gotta get him out of here. He's a little crazy about it.
So they just throw him in a couple scenes here and there to make him happy.
Right.
I think this was the book that was supposed to have the super epic Sorting Hat song. Because there's one book that has, like, a long, like, 2-page Sorting Hat song when... I'm pretty sure it's this one because it's when Voldemort just comes back. So since he came back in the last book, it would be this one. Or last movie, I guess. It'd be this one. And I'm really annoyed that they cut them out because I feel like the Sorting Hat gives... like, in that song, gives a lot of insight as to, like, what is actually happening. So I feel like even that song being added would have added a lot to the story. Because, like, everybody's just blindly following what the minister says right now. You know, like, Umbridge, no one can see how sketchy everything that is going on around them is. But... I don't get how people cannot see the signs and not wonder what's going on.
Yeah, because I feel like a lot of parents or
Mm-hmm.
literally any other teacher would be able to recognize, I wonder why all these students have scars on the back of their hands.
Yeah.
Gee, I don't know.
Yeah.
The detention with Umbridge was a lot less gruesome in this one than it was in the book.
Yeah.
That was intense in the book, and this was kind of nice and chill, I guess, for,
I don't think they wanted to scare kids.
Right.
In the movie, the I must not tell lies is written on his left hand, but he's using his right hand to write. I thought it was supposed to be on the same hand.
I thought it was too, but maybe it was just for, like, so
dramatic effect.
shoot it.
So they could see.
Yeah, because, I mean, he's positioned in a pretty good way. But Fred and George helping, I can't remember which young student it was, but that
in
hurt
the
my
book?
heart. Yeah.
Or in
the
movie. In the movie is what I meant. Sorry. In the movie.
We go back and forth. We get confused.
Yeah, it's confusing.
But, yeah, that part hurts my heart because they're just so kind.
They are. I love the twins.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay, one of the parts that annoyed me. In the letter, Harry calls him Padfoot instead of Snuffles. No, that is not code enough.
Right.
Like people, speaking of Padfoot, he's like, you called?
Yeah,
hey guys.
Like, let me make some noise real quick.
And I feel like that shit would not fly, you know? You need to have a bit of a code.
Right.
And then later on, oh my gosh, a baby Thestral. Oh, it melted my heart. I was just like, oh my god, I want one.
Luna feeding the baby Thestral.
Yeah.
It's
like, no, I don't want an apple. I want meat.
Right, like, I would so do that on my free time. Go feed the Thestrals.
My entire family was like, ew, when she pulled the meat out of the bag. And I was just like, excuse me?
Bitch. This
is my Thestral feeding purse.
This is my Thestral feeding
purse. Okay, and then a little while later, this part cracked me up. And you were unsuccessful in getting the dark arts position? And then Snape's all like, obviously. I love that part. And then she measures Flitwick. Like, is there a height requirement to work at Hogwarts? Because I feel like that would have been a very insensitive thing to do.
Right? Like, that's kind of discriminatory right there.
What? Yeah, why are you pulling out the measuring tape? What does it matter? Flitwick's a great teacher.
Obviously.
Also, How would Flitwick be able to get out the door, though? Like, I mean, I think Harry and Ron and Hermione and freaking Hagrid would have a hard time with those doors. Did you see those doors? They look heavy as hell.
Maybe
they were
they're
opening
magical.
or closing for something. like
they're super light.
Open. Oh, I thought you meant like sensors, like at Walmart. They just open when you approach.
Magical doors like Walmart.
Like Walmart. Also, did you notice the goat in the hogshead?
Yeah. I'm glad that they put the goat in there, because I do remember in the book that it was described as distinctly smelling of goats.
Yeah.
And you know what? That was a detail they did not miss.
No. A detail they did miss, however, is that they automatically named it Dumbledore's Army in the movie without any discussion. Like, it's just like, all right, we're doing this? Cool. It's Dumbledore's Army. Dumbledore's Army. Like, instant.
Dumbledore's Army.
Dumbledore. And then Dobby was supposed to help them find the room of requirement. And I get it. They take the house elves out of the story. But, I mean, you've already seen Dobby. Dobby's already in the story. Don't get me wrong. They give Neville the credit this time, and I'm totally okay with Neville getting the credit. But it's not hard to have Dobby do his little thing that he actually did. Like, oh, here you go, Harry Potter, sir. Here's the room of requirement. Yay! But honestly, Filch is sneaking around the room of requirement, looking out to see when they're doing something wrong, is freaking hilarious. It's like, I'm doing the motion, but you guys can't see it. I loved it. I almost died laughing. His prancing, like, hiding behind the statues.
Right. Because he's so awkward. And I love how the twins just pull a prank on him. And I like seeing them look around the corner like, ha ha ha, got you.
The chocolates? That?
Yes.
Yeah, I love that.
Oh, the scene when his popple, like, his pimple pops.
And it, like, hits the screen, too.
Yeah. So gross.
Is it mentioned, like, it is mentioned in the book, sorry, but is it mentioned in the movie that Luna says that the mistletoe is full of nargles? Like, I know in the book, her and Harry, they, like, look up and she's like, oh, it's infested with nargles. But then in the movie, he says it before he kisses Cho, but then Harry just sounds like the crazy one in the movie.
Yeah, because, like, she mentions nargles a couple of times earlier, but never with the mistletoe, and then he's just probably full of nargles. Like, why? Where is this coming from?
Why?
But with Harry and Cho, I'm kind of sad we didn't get to see their absolutely abysmal date.
I was thinking that afterwards, but I was like, I don't remember, because I couldn't remember if they actually showed it in the movie or not.
Yeah, I wonder if they tried and they were like, this is too awkward to film because this date's just too bad.
We can't put the actors through this sort of awkwardness. I like how concerned Harry and Ron's faces were when Hermione was explaining girls' emotions to them.
Right.
They're just like, what?
All these emotions. Oh,
all these emotions. So in the movie, unlike the book, Voldemort breaches Harry's mind, and Dumbledore says that Harry needs to start occlumency, whatever. And Severus just, like, grabs him and drags him downstairs immediately. But in the book, it's like, oh, yes, next Thursday you're starting. Nope, this shit's going to happen now. I was really sad that we don't get to see Arthur in the hospital, which means that we also don't get to see Alice and Frank, or really any of Neville's story. Like, yeah, he brings it up later in front of the mirror, but it means so much more when you see it firsthand, like his mom handing him the candy wrapper and, like,
yeah.
Poor Neville. I just feel like his story should be more highlighted, considering how much in the next couple movies he is actually needed.
Right.
But either way, we're back for Christmas, and that is when we get the Black family tree scene where we see where everyone who's been burnt out and how he's related to a bunch of people. But I thought it was just a tapestry. Like, I was expecting, like, a blanket on a wall, but this is, like, the entire wall in the entire room was painted with the Black family tree.
Yeah.
Pretty intense.
Yeah, and, like, only one section of the wall actually has people painted on it, and the rest of it's just
like
waiting.
An ugly green tree. Ugh. And then it also doesn't really tell any of Hagrid and Olamp's giant searching expedition, which, like, I mean, you can't put everything in the movies again. but I've never realized how much they leave out in these books, you know? Which brings another question. Do we really see Grop any time after this book? No.
Not really.
I wonder what happens to him. Also, did you notice Seamus's tie when he tells Harry that he believes him?
Yeah.
It was like 3 inches long. Like, what the hell? I realize he gets blown up a lot, so that's probably what happened to all his ties. But it was like a legit tie, though.
Yeah, but it was just like super short.
It was so short.
I don't know, maybe he bought specialty short ties because he keeps setting his on fire.
Maybe. Alright. And then in the movie, this part was weird. Cho's the one who told on them in the movie, but she also didn't have any jinxes on her, and that didn't really make much sense.
I think it's because they left out the whole Hermione jinxing that parchment altogether.
Yeah.
It wasn't even a part of the movie.
Well, she didn't do it in the book either, really. Did she?
Yeah, Cho didn't. Cho brought a friend with her into the Dumbledore's
Marietta.
army. Yeah, and she's the one who told because her parents worked in the ministry, and she got scared and told, and she had the jinx.
Yeah,
but
so that just takes away from Hermione's smarts.
It does. And it also, I think it's odd that they do change it to Cho having that in her tea, Umbridge does the Veritaserum serum on her. Okay, I feel like if that happened, everyone would know about it. If someone uses that on you, you're going to be like, don't drink the tea.
I didn't like that whole scene because I think, is it Snape earlier on is like, unfortunately, it's banned on using from the kids. Like, I realize that she's High Inquisitor and she could probably unban it, but there's no freaking way in hell I would be okay with my child being
interrogated
potioned.
And, drugged without knowledge.
Yeah.
Essentially is what that is.
Like, no, you better, first of all, get my permission to use the serum on my child, and second of all, no.
Yeah, no. But Umbridge isn't exactly the best person when it comes to decisions with children at all. Like, okay, she uses the Bombarda Maxima in the movie, and it blows up that entire wall. And that whole scene, like, there's, like, rocks and bricks just going everywhere. She could have killed one of those kids. Like, some of those kids were really fucking tiny, and you could have, like, if it hit them in the head, I'm pretty sure that they can't even reverse death in their hospital. I'm just saying.
No.
There's a reason Voldemort has Horcruxes. They can't.
Yeah.
Once you're dead, it's over. And she just, I don't care. I'll make a little explosion.
A little. She uses Maxima.
Not Minima.
That is
Bombarda Minima.
Little baby explosion. Also, for Christmas, I want a Phoenix. Dumbledore's exit was so badass. Like Shacklebolt said, Dumbledore's got style. And like, I want style like Dumbledore.
Yeah.
Which, another style point that I actually didn't put in my notes. Did you notice his beard jewelry? It is on point. I love the little beard jewelry thing. In the book, I thought the ministry representatives came for owls. I didn't think Umbridge would be qualified to oversee the owl test. Yeah, so that part was a little weird. Also, I get lack of time, but I don't like the lack of Quidditch in these books. Because in this one, it's like, Weasley is our king. We don't get any of that in the movies. We don't get any of that. You know, Fred and George and Harry aren't allowed to play. And it's during the Weasley is our king one that Hagrid brings Hermione and Harry to meet Grop. But he takes all three of the kids at some point. I don't even know when to meet. I think he just randomly takes them one day. But Grop is so much more civilized in the movie than in the book. And I like that. Like, I like that he was way easier to deal with in the movie. Another thing I did like was that the twins went out with a bang. Literally. I'm pretty sure that they had actually used the fireworks as a distraction. When was that? To talk to Sirius in the book, I think? Yeah. And then they went with a swamp. But I like that in the movie they like switched it up and made the fireworks their exit, because that's just such a badass exit. They got style too. Also, again, like I said, we had the Harry Potter marathon, so we were all holding wands throughout the weekend for the whole weekend. And did you notice the way Voldemort holds his wand? It's so awkward. I tried, and, like, I dropped my wand, like, 5 times because I couldn't figure out how that'd be comfortable. And none of us could figure out how the hell. It was actually the running joke all weekend, how he holds his wand, because we could not figure out how the hell that is conventional.
Yeah, when Mike proposed to me, he dressed up as Voldemort because we had a Voldemort wand.
Do we have pictures of this?
Yeah.
Oh
we
my
do
goodness.
have pictures of this, but he in one of the photos, he tries really hard to do the awkward wand holding, and it just it just never looked or felt right for him.
I need to see these pictures. All right. Did you notice that Umbridge had a picture of the minister on her desk? Like, ew. Makes you wonder, is there something going on between them? Is that why she's so blindly following him? And like, Cornelius says this. Not Cornelius. Is it Cornelius? No, it's not. Is it?
Cornelius Fudge, yeah.
Oh, yay. I didn't get my men mixed up.
Her awkward Cornelius doesn't know won't hurt him, and then puts the picture down. And it's like, I don't know anyone who has a picture of their boss, essentially, like, in any
in their office, on their desk, and like,
yeah,
there must be something going on between them.
There must be, or she's just crazy.
Obsessed.
She's obsessed.
And I don't think in the movie she admits to sending the Dementors, because I had someone ask me while we were watching the movie, like, why did the Dementors go? And I'm like, Umbridge sends them. And they're like, what? I don't think it was mentioned.
I don't think it was either. Another random tie that only movie people don't.
Only book people know.
Yeah, otherwise it's a mystery forever.
Like, how did they end up in Little Wingjing? Which, yeah. Every time they say it, I'm like, that's not how I say it. I don't get why the centaurs didn't talk in this movie. That made no sense to me. I feel like they would have said something when Umbridge called them, what did she call them? Like, something beasts? Like, you dirty beasts? Like, They would have been like, bitch, no. They were just like, nay. And then they, like, tie her up and drag her away. But I feel like they would have been like, what did you call it?
Right. Oh, and we didn't get Friends as a teacher either.
Was that this year?
It was.
It was this year.
Because Umbridge tried to get rid of Trelawney, so they had to have him step in a little, and she didn't like that. But at least we didn't have to actually see the weird goggling girls over
him.
Yeah. Still awkward.
Yeah. And then my last thing that I was upset about was that they skipped the freaking end phone booth scene. That one is even funnier than the first one. You can't leave that one out. Like, I loved in the book when it's like little tags, visitors, rescue mission. It would have been such a small scene to add, but it would have made all the difference. Like them just like all awkwardly standing in the phone booth and then like going down.
Rescue mission. Yeah, I'm sad that wasn't in there too. Okay, and a random thought that I have had every time I've ever watched this movie. Okay, the more educational decrees? I mean, whatever. But like the higher up the wall they get, and I know that you also wear glasses. Mm-hmm. Can you imagine not wearing your glasses and trying to read any of those? Because I'm pretty sure I couldn't even read the top ones with my glasses.
Without my glasses, I wouldn't even be able to read the bottom ones. Let's be real. Like, I am that blind. But no, like, those go so freaking high. Like,
right? Like, can you?
I'll be like, I can't read it, so I don't know what it says.
Right, like when she disbands all of the groups, it's, well, I couldn't read it, so you're gonna have to make it more acceptable for everyone to get to.
Yeah. Yeah, like, make a flip book or something.
Right? But make a book that updates in every single homeroom of the school rules.
Or, like, make them smaller, because they're huge. They're massive.
They look so heavy.
Make them, like, 4x6 size. You'd have so much more room.
All right, that was all we had for today's episode. What did you guys like or dislike about this movie? Comment below and let us know.
If you'd like to get more lit, please be sure to follow us on Podbean, iTunes, Spotify, CastBox, or wherever else you can find us. All our other social media is linked down below.
If you guys liked this episode, feel free to leave a like or rate our podcast. It really helps support us to keep making content that we love.
Until next time, bye.